All right. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our third and final day of our SolidWorks 3 Experience Week 2021 with us. So we would really like to thank all of you for joining us today throughout the entire event and sharing this experience with us. But just because it is the last day doesn't mean that we will be shying away from any important sessions today. All right, so for this morning, we have our partners from Intel and Lenovo with us, and they will be touching on topics of the innovation and the future of workstation capabilities. Just a quick summary of what we have in store for you. We have actually prepared some guidebooks as well and some quizzes that will be available throughout the entire event today. All right, and do keep a lookout on our lucky draw session that will actually happen after these 3-day sessions. All right, so we will be announcing the winner in our social media. So please be sure to follow us over there to see if you are one of the lucky winners. All right, but firstly, we have here with us Mr. Boon joining us from Penang. He is a field application engineer from Intel Corporation Asia Pacific, Japan, and he will be talking about Intel Xeon, the performance and technology for the modern workstation. All right, I believe Mr. Paul is already with us today. So I'm just going to pass the stage to you right here. All right, hi, good morning. Yep, good morning, Mr. Paul.
Okay, all right. Yep.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Hi, good morning.
Yeah. Good morning.
Yep.
Yeah. So let me start sharing my screen. Yeah.
Yep, sure thing. All right. Yeah,
okay.
We can see it.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much, everyone, and thank you for attending the event for today. Yeah, and also for spending your time, your valuable time, attending our session entitled Intel Xeon: Performance and Technology for the Modern Workstation. Yeah. So as mentioned just now, my name is Boon, yeah, and I am from the Intel Inside Sales organization based in Penang, yeah, and I'm the field application engineer. Okay. All right, so we're going to talk about the Intel Xeon here, and specifically on the workstation. I'm sure everyone who's attending this event basically users of workstations, yeah, and there's a lot of definitions for workstations. So different people, industry analysts, OEMs, users such as yourselves would have different definitions of workstations. But this is how Intel classify a workstation. Yeah, so there are four key differentiators of what defines a workstation, and they are performance, data integrity, certifications, and lastly, this is the piece where we say the technology that makes it a modern workstation, security and manageability. Yeah, okay, and we are going to go deeper into each one of these four key pillars. Okay, so firstly, we're going to talk about performance. Okay, performance is, of course, a very big reason why people choose to use a workstation instead of a normal desktop computer. Yeah. So for our Intel workstation, okay, we specifically have three specific segments to cater for the performance level, the memory requirements, as well as expansion requirements that users such as yourselves will need from a workstation. Yeah. So starting on the left, yeah, we have the mobile and entry workstation segment. These are powered by our Intel Xeon W1000 series processors. Yeah, so these segments would be very suitable for 2D type application, entry 3D and computer-aided design, and tasks such as game development. Yeah, so this would be for the mobile and entry workstation segment. Okay. Next one would be the mainstream workstation segment. Okay, so in the mainstream workstation, you can see that in terms of performance, it's much higher performance. Yeah, up to 18 core processors, 48 CPU PCI Express lanes, loads of expansion capabilities, and 4 memory channels which are available. Yeah, so making this very suitable for the advanced content creation, advanced 3D and rendering, and also for artificial intelligence workloads. Okay. So for the mainstream, these are powered by our Intel Xeon W2000 series processors. Okay, and then on the far right, so this would be for the expert, yeah, for the expert workstation segment. These are powered by either our Xeon W3000 series processor or our Intel Xeon scalable processor family. Yeah, so these will be our most high-powered platform, featuring up to 56 cores and 96 CPU PCI Express lanes and up to 12 memory channels. Yeah, so these are for breakthrough performance for real-time design, modeling, content creation, and extracting data insights. Yeah, so examples would be like 8K video editing and large AI type workloads. Yeah, so these are the 3 different segments that we actually have for our Intel workstation platform. Okay. One other area which is specific, which are unique, yeah, to the Intel platform, is in terms of AI acceleration, yeah, artificial intelligence acceleration, and this feature we name it as the Intel Deep Learning Boost. Yeah, so the Intel Deep Learning Boost basically extends the Intel AVX 512 instruction set. Yeah, the AVX 512 instruction set has been available within our Intel CPU instruction set for a few generations already. But what Deep Learning Boost does is that it extends the AVX 512 instruction set to be able to accelerate artificial intelligence and machine learning in inference. Yeah, so softwares that have been optimized for the Deep Learning Boost. Okay, or if you are into software development, yeah, so we basically have frameworks and libraries which are optimized for the Deep Learning Boost as well. Yeah, so you'll be able to find that you'll be able to get performance increases in order of magnitudes. Yeah, so it's not just like 10-20%, but more in orders of magnitude. Okay. So in the bottom right-hand corner, you can see, okay, so the Deep Learning Boost designed to accelerate AI and deep learning use cases, yeah, such as image recognition, object detection, speech recognition, language translation, and more. Yeah, all these different tasks which can benefit from AI acceleration. Yeah, and one example that is given there. Yeah, so you can see that up to 3x performance gains using the Deep Learning Boost from an image classification topology. Yeah, so so this is something that is unique, that is available on the Intel platform. Yeah, which is the Deep Learning Boost for AI acceleration. For the second key differentiator of the Intel Xeon workstation, okay, so in terms of data integrity, okay, so the data integrity is this feature is supported by 2 key factors. First is support for error correcting code memory, ECC memory. Okay, so ECC memory is very critical to delivering a stable engineering and design platform. Yeah, so you as a workstation user, okay, so you know that the workloads that you do are very sort of mission critical, very productivity intensive. Yeah, any sort of downtime usually is unacceptable and comes at a high cost. Yeah, and also the kind of sort of workloads that you use, basically your data sets are usually huge, okay, and you require huge amounts of memory and memory processing as well, and that sort of increases the probability of encountering a memory error. Yeah, so here you can see that for an ECC memory finds and is able to fix up to 99% of memory error. So therefore, using a platform, a system with ECC support, will make your system a lot more reliable, and ensuring that your system is more stable more of the time. Okay. The second part is a feature set that we call as RAS, reliability, availability, and serviceability. Okay? So these are expanded capabilities at the platform level to offer maximum data resiliency. Okay? So the first is in terms of error detection, reporting, and recovery. So the platform has built-in capabilities to be able to detect and be able to report and recover any sort of errors in the BIOS or firmware level. Okay. Also, the platform has DDR4 parity check as well, so real-time hardware-based detection of parity error, again, contributing to reliability of the system. And then also for a PCI Express resiliency. Yeah, so of course, on your workstations, you would tend to have a lot of expansion cards actually put into the system. So yeah, with the RAS feature that is built in, so there is a higher data integrity, even when exchanging data between two PCI Express devices. Okay, so together, the RAS and the ECC memory, so these contribute to the data integrity feature of the Intel Workstation. Okay. The third key differentiator for the Intel Xeon platform is in terms of certification. Yeah, so here you can see that on the Intel Xeon platform. So we basically work with a lot of these ISVs, in the workstation workload type market. Yeah, so desktop systems for SolidWorks is definitely one of our partners that we work very closely with to basically certify our Intel Xeon platform systems to work reliably with them. Okay, so yeah, all these different titles for all of these different workstation type workloads. Yes, simulation, computer aided design, 3D modeling, visual effects, motion graphics, AI, and analytics. Yeah, so all of these, Intel has already done the upfront work, okay, to basically do a lot of validation and testing, and further along the line with our OEMs. Okay, such as HP, Dell, Lenovo, and others. So they, at the system level, okay, will also then do their own certification with all of these workstation software as well. Okay, so before we go into the security and manageability portion of the modern workstation, I'd like to touch a little bit more on the better together messaging that comes with our Intel platform. Yeah, more than just a CPU provider. So we also have a lot of adjacent technologies as well, which also basically serves to contribute performance, okay, to the Intel Workstation platform. We've already talked about the Intel Deep Learning Boost for AI acceleration. Okay, so there is also the feature Turbo Boost Max technology, okay, ensuring that your system is capable of hitting the highest clock frequency as possible. Okay, the higher the clock frequency, the higher the performance of your system always. Okay, in terms of memory and storage, yeah, we have a very unique set of technology, okay, that is capable of again increasing the overall performance of your systems in a very meaningful manner. Okay, so the Intel Optane SSDs, if you never heard of Intel Optane SSDs before, okay, so they represent the highest performance with the lowest latency and highest reliability, that is possible with a storage solution available today. Okay, so with the Intel Optane SSD, it works just like any other SSD solid-state drive, but it just has really high performance, high bandwidth, high throughput, very low latency. Okay, so making it very responsive across any type of workloads, and highest reliability as well. Yeah, so up to 10 drive writes per day. Yeah, so if your SSD is 1 terabyte in size, with Intel Optane SSDs, you can write 10 terabytes of data, read and write 10 terabytes a day, every day for up to 3 years. Yeah, the lifetime of its warranty, we guarantee that Intel Optane SSDs will last through all of that read and write that is required on it. Okay. We also support a technology called the Optane DC persistent memory with our Xeon scalable processor platform. Yeah, the Optane DC persistent memory, what it is that it provides a way for you to be able to scale the amount of memory within your system up to a very high amount, but at a significantly lower cost compared to if you had populated with just DDR4 memory. Yeah, so think of having memory in the terabyte range. Yeah, without spending the amount of money that you would need for a DDR4 type memory. So this is the capability of the Optane DC persistent memory. Okay. So the next two topics for connectivity as well as security and manageability, we will cover in the next few slides. Okay, for connectivity, okay, so the first adjacent technology that we have in Intel is Thunderbolt 3. Yeah, so Thunderbolt 3 is basically a port that is available on your PC. However, it is a very high performance port. Yeah, so very much faster compared to a USB. Okay, so here you can see that for the Thunderbolt, it basically is up to 8 times faster than USB 3.0 port. Yeah, so you need to have a connection to an external drive, for example. Okay, so using a Thunderbolt device will basically give you the fastest transfer speed that is available. Okay. However, Thunderbolt is more than just data transfer. It is multi-protocol. Okay, so through one single Thunderbolt cable, not only does it transfer data at a much faster speed, but it can also transfer display signals. Yeah, through DisplayPort. It can also transfer PCI Express data. It can also transfer networking as well, your Ethernet LAN type connection, and it can also do high power charging as well, all through one single cable. Yeah, and it basically has the capability to be able to do daisy chaining as well for you to connect multiple devices. Okay. Our platforms also support the Intel Wi-Fi 6, okay, which actually represents the biggest PC connectivity update in a decade. Yeah, so the Wi-Fi technology has been around for years, but we haven't had a new standard actually evolve. Yeah, from the 802 to the 11AC for about 10 years now. Yeah, so Wi-Fi 6 that is available today. Okay, it's already available in the market. Okay, so it's the biggest update in a decade. Okay, so if within your company network, okay, so if it's a fully wireless environment, then Wi-Fi 6 would be the obvious choice. Yeah, for you to use with your Intel workstation. Okay, so it has 75% lower latency compared to the previous generation. Okay, so very useful for you to do sort of streaming type of usage models. Okay, or doing HD video conferencing. Okay, there's improved reliability. Okay, so with a Wi-Fi 6 wireless access point, so it can support 4 times greater capacity, 4 times more devices within your network. Okay, and then in terms of speed, yeah, of course, it's much faster. Okay, so up to 40% faster Wi-Fi. Okay. So now we come to the fourth pillar, which differentiates the Intel Xeon workstation, okay, and that is the security and manageability. Okay, so both security and manageability is underpinned by our Intel vPro platform. Yeah, our Intel vPro platform basically represents a branding for all of our computing solutions, which are built for the business. Okay, so in terms of security, okay, so the Intel Hardware Shield, okay, is basically a feature that is available in the hardware, which basically be able to protect your system from firmware-based attacks, okay, as well as secure the attack surface of the BIOS. Okay, so it basically has an additional layer of protection on your workstation, making it a lot more difficult for the attackers to target your system at the firmware or BIOS level. Okay? So there is a hardware level of security to be able to protect your system. In terms of manageability, we have the Intel Active Management technology. Okay? So the Intel Active Management technology is very, very unique to the Intel vPro platform. Okay? So it basically delivers remote manageability features, yeah, and not just any type of remote manageability, but a persistent out-of-band capable type remote manageability. Okay, so let's look at some of the use cases that are possible when using the Intel Active Management technology. Okay, so with the Intel Active Management technology, systems that have been activated for AMT, okay, basically, and a system administrator basically will have a power control, a remote power control capabilities, yeah, meaning remotely you are able to power on, power off, put the system to sleep or hibernate, and wake them up, okay, at any time remotely. Okay, with hardware alarm clock, so you can set a particular time and date, and then when the time arrives, the system will basically be able to wake itself up. Very, very useful for scheduling sort of updates or patches. Yeah. Hardware KVM, okay, so this is a very, very useful and very, very powerful feature of the Intel AMT, okay, because you can do a remote control session, okay, similar to real VNC, similar to TeamViewer. However, because this is a hardware solution, a hardware KVM, so therefore, regardless of the state of the operating system, okay, you are still able to have control of that the remote control session. Okay, so the OS could be blue screen, it could be hang. Okay, the OS could be corrupted, but if if your Intel Xeon workstation has been AMT activated, okay, so a tech support person, for example, you still be able to remotely connect to the system and be able to have remote control of it. Okay. This will also be useful for users such as yourself, okay? In this era of the COVID-19 pandemic, okay? So a lot of us can't actually go into office anymore because of lockdowns and all of that. So, like, let's say if you are at home, but you still have tasks that you need to perform on your workstation, which is residing in the office, okay? So with the Intel AMT hardware KVM feature, you are still able to have control over the system, yeah, boot it up and be able to run your tasks as if you're sitting in front of that system, okay? Some of the useful feature is boot redirection in case the OS is corrupted, okay, and you need to reinstall the operating system. So you can do a remote boot redirection to restart the OS installation, okay. today with the solution that we have, so we provide beyond firewall support for the remote manageability, basically meaning that the remote manageability can happen over the internet as well. Okay? Cloud-based manageability, so for the administrator, okay, so you are not limited to using the tool just from your office network. As long as you are at home, you have any sort of connection to the internet, you are able to then manage the system. Okay? And you can see all of this, how you can use it to be able to manage unattended system control and upgrade management as well. Okay, so right now I would like to show a very short video, okay, a demo video on the Intel Endpoint Management Assistant, which is a free software tool provided by Intel, which helps you to take advantage of the Intel and active management technology. Okay. So just give me a moment for me to start the video. Yeah. Okay, so the video should show up in a short while.
Hi, this is Dan Brunton with the Intel Corporation, and in this video I'll be giving you an introduction to Intel Endpoint Management Assistant. Let's just start out with the basic question. What is Intel EMA? As I've mentioned, it stands for Endpoint Management Assistant. It's a new tool from Intel for allowing you to manage computers remotely, even through firewalls. And if you have Intel Active Management technology, which comes with the Intel vPro platform, you can do even more to manage those devices at a hardware level, even when the OS is down. Intel EMA can be installed on premises or in the cloud, and also includes a set of APIs that you can use to integrate Intel EMA capabilities into other tools. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the cool features we have for being able to manage devices using Intel Endpoint Management Assistant. First thing I'd like to point out is that you don't have to have an Intel vPro system to be able to use Intel Endpoint Management Assistant. We do support managing devices at a software level when the operating system is up and has a network connection. As you can see here, I've got a Microsoft Surface Book that I can manage just as easily through firewalls as I could with a system at a hardware level. But again, if you have an Intel vPro platform, that's where some of the magic happens with that out-of-band access to the system. And we're just going to take a look at an example of how that works. So when I bring up the device page for this, we can see a few things. One, that the system is powered on. We see that the software agent is connected, and we also see that this device is connected via client-initiated remote access to our EMA server. In this case, the device I'm managing is actually located on a different network attached to a consumer broadband connection and then talking to our Intel Endpoint Management Assistant instance that's running up on the cloud. Let's start with the Intel AMT tab. This is where all this cool hardware level manageability happens. So when I click on the tab here, initially you'll see some basic information about the system, such as firmware versions that it's running, that it's powered on and plugged in, and I have some basic capabilities to be able to turn certain features or functions on and off. Let's go and take a look at the fun stuff, and that's the Remote Desktop tab. This is sometimes also known as KVM Remote Control, and this is where I can actually go through and manage devices, again, at a hardware level, just like I was in front of it. So this is that same kind of experience you've always had with software management, but at a hardware level. And to demonstrate that, I'm going to go ahead and actually reboot this system. And with software-based management tools, once the operating system stops running, management stops with that, and you have to ask the person what's happening over the phone. What's going on? Can you read me the error message? You don't have to worry about that with Intel Active Management technology. Here I'm able to go through, reboot the system, watch it post, and come up through the entire process. So if there's any kind of errors popping up here, I'd have a chance to see those again, just like I was in front of the system itself. In this case, it's just going to load Windows back up normally, and we'll be able to go through, watch our end user log back in, help them with any other problems they have. So that's the basic idea with Intel out-of-band management technology and Intel AMT. We have the ability to manage these devices at a hardware level in ways that we're not able to with software-based agents on their own. So now we've had a quick preview of what we can do with Intel Active Management technology. Let's take a look at some of the other tabs we have here. We'll start with the desktop tab. So this brings up the same remote control experience you just saw with Intel AMT, but at a software level. There's a little bit of a performance benefit you get to running these things in software, so things work a little smoother. So again, if the system is up and running, you can always use the desktop tab to get a little faster experience. But if you need to reboot the system, do anything else, you've got the great options of doing remote desktop inside of Intel AMT, and leveraging that KVM remote control use case where you can watch the system reboot and do all your diagnostics just like you were in front of it. Well, that completes the demo and the video. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, again, please visit us at intel.com/vpro or intel.com/AMT.
Okay, yeah. So hopefully with the demo video just now, you have an idea of the capability, the remote manageability capability of the Intel vPro that is supported on the Intel Xeon platform. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, let's go through the workstation summary. Yeah, so just as a summary of all of the contents that we've gone through. So there's three key message. Yeah, so Intel Xeon, the performance and technology for the modern workstation. So firstly, we have professional grade performance and reliability. Okay, that users such as yourself demand and require. Okay. So there's also certifications by key industry ISV applications, yeah, so that all of our systems can actually have out-of-box reliability as well as optimized performance. Okay, and third, as you've just seen, yeah, security and manageability for the modern workstation. Yeah, so for all of these key reasons, yeah, so we hope that you understand more about the Intel Xeon workstations and you make it your preferred platform for all of your workstation workloads. Okay. All right. Yeah. So that is all I have for today. Yeah. So I'll hand it back to the organizers.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Po. Yep. Perhaps we can actually try to get some questions. If there are any questions from the audience right now, let me just take a quick look. If anyone have any questions, yes, we actually do have one from Zankun Chua. All right, so thank you for your question, Zankun Chua. Workstations is for company usage more freelance. What for freelance? What is the minimum specs that you will recommend to smoothly run SolidWorks? Okay, for this question, I think the minimum requirement for SolidWorks is actually still a bit standardized in this case. Yeah, so we do have a standard recommendation depending on the version of SolidWorks that we are using right here. Yeah, so unfortunately, it will still be almost like a workstation grade. Yeah, because SolidWorks is quite it's quite a intensive design software that would require some minimum requirements in that sense. All right. Yeah, so I hope that answers your questions, and Guntra. Yeah, because I think throughout this session we really see that because sometimes, right, organizations and companies, sometimes they tend to focus on the planning, and sometimes they lack the understanding on the hardware requirement or the infrastructure requirement that we have. So it's really good that we have this sharing session from Intel, from Mr. Po, in regards to what Intel has to offer actually, even in this COVID-19 situation right now as well. Yeah, so thank you, Mr. Paul. Yeah, so any other questions from the audience? Hmm. All right. We don't have any questions so far. Let me just take a look at the chat section as well. Let's see. All right. I think perhaps that's all for now. All right. But yeah, thank you so much for joining us today, Mr. Ho. Yeah.
All right, no problems. Yeah, thank you, everyone.
Yep. All right. So if the audience actually do have any other questions, you can actually reach out to us at info@CADVision.com.my or .sg, depending on where your location is. And perhaps maybe Mr. Paul, you can actually let them know how they can contact you as well.
Oh, yeah. So, well, I'm available, through email, and it's basically just my name, boon.how.po@intel.com. Yeah.
Oh, all
And
right. All right.
just
Yeah,
to
that's simple.
just to recap,
All right.
I'm a field application engineer for our Intel client computing group. So, if you have any questions about any of our Intel client products, such as our CPU, Xeon platforms, SSDs in our Intel vPro software and technology. Yeah, so feel free to drop me an email.
All right, yeah. Just another quick question. Before I think there's one question just sneaked in here. All right, so what is the difference between Xeon and iCore 7?
Okay, yeah, that's a very common question that we hear. Yeah. As we say, that there's a lot of workstation definitions, yeah, from industry analysts, from users, from OEMs, yeah. Certainly, on the performance level, yeah. So as we see that for the Intel Xeon workstation, we do have the entry workstation. Some of the performance level could be at a similar level between Core i7, i9, and certain entry Xeon workstations. But the key differentiator, yeah, is as we mentioned just now. Okay, so one is that we have a more scalable performance in Xeon. If on the Core i9 is about as high as you can go, yeah, but for the Xeon, we still have the Xeon mainstream, and we still have the Xeon Expert, yeah, so the performance actually scales much higher. And then we do have the data integrity, yeah, remember the ECC support, very important for workstation users, yeah, so you don't want to be running your video rendering for hundreds of hours, and then suddenly a memory error appears, yeah, and then yeah, that will cause a lot of productivity lost. Okay.
Yep.
Then again, in terms of certification, yeah. So for example, we definitely work very closely with SolidWorks to ensure that our Xeon platform will perform very reliably. Okay. Yeah, with SolidWorks and Xeon. And then lastly is the security, hardware level security, and the modern manageability features that is available in the Xeon workstation platform today. Yeah, so this is what differentiates between the Core and the Xeon platform.
I see. All right. Yeah. Thank you so much for the answer. Yeah. So I believe that would be all. So yep. Once again, thank you so much for joining us. Yep.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Yep. We'll see you soon. Bye.